And on the Jack Spring Electric Newsmaker hotline, Dr. Joseph Bocchini with Willis Knighton Medical Center, infectious disease specialist in the pediatric wing. You do it all pretty much, correct?
I do pediatrics. That's correct.
Okay.
Yep.
We are talking about a confirmed case now by the State Health Department of brain-eating amoeba in our community. I know we cannot talk about specific patients, but when we say brain-eating amoeba, we get scared. First off, tell us what this is and how you get this kind of bacterial, I guess a bacterial infection. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's an amoeba, and this is a free-living single-cell organism that really lives in fresh water, lives in soil, and it tends to grow more rapidly when the water heats up. So this time of the year, when water temperatures of lakes and streams and other freshwater ponds reach into the 80s, this amoeba can really proliferate. The only way it causes serious infection is by having it get into your nose. It enters through your nose into the nerves that support your nose, grows back into the brain, and that's why it's called a brain-eating infection, because once it's in the brain, it causes a severe, rapidly evolving infection, which is often fatal. So this is a very rare disease. There are only a few cases reported in the United States each year, but it is frequently a fatal disease. So the press release from the Public Health really was aimed to make people aware. The case in Louisiana, possibly occurring after water exposure in Lake Claiborne, and just to make people aware and to take precautions to try and reduce the risk of acquiring this infection.
Now, if you get this infection, can it cause things like meningitis or other things that impact the brain?
Yes, in fact, the illness that it causes is called an amoebic meningoencephalitis. So it's a meningitis plus damage to the brain, which is what makes it an encephalitis. So yes, that's exactly what it causes.
Symptoms? Can you kind of go over that?
Sure. What generally happens is, on average, about 5 days after water exposure, the patient may develop fever, some headache, but then over the next few days, the headache worsens significantly. Vomiting can occur, and then neurologic findings happen, so that they may become confused, possibly have seizures, other neurologic changes that would indicate that there is a potential infection involving the brain or the tissues around the brain.
How long does it take to manifest from the time I swim in the lake to the time I start getting sick? How long is it baking, I guess, in your brain?
So on average, it takes up to about 5 days before symptoms develop. Sometimes it's a little faster than that. Sometimes it takes a little over a week and a half for symptoms to develop. But on average, it's going to start within 5 days or at approximately 5 days after exposure.
Let me ask you something. Someone asked me yesterday about this, and they said if I use like a neti pot or something like that for sinuses or for breathing treatments or whatever at home, should I be using distilled water in cases for those kinds of things? This is kind of off the topic a little bit, but there has been some people that have said, I don't know that I would use tap water for those things. Is that an issue at all?
Yeah, no, Aaron, that is on topic because, the way we control this amoeba is by chlorinating our water. And as long as the water is chlorinated effectively, that will kill this organism and it's not a problem. However, during summer, there can be times when chlorination might fail because of problems within the system or problems near the house. So If you use an neti pot, if your doctor has prescribed nasal rinses or sinus rinses, it is really important to use sterile water or distilled water. If you're going to use water from the tap, you should boil it for at least 1 minute to kill these organisms just in case they might be there. So it would be uncommon, but that's a safety measure that anyone who uses a neti pot or a nasal rinse should take to reduce the risk of infection with this organism.
But you're not saying, when you say this, you're not saying there's any problem or issue with our drinking water, with our water in our communities across the region.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct. There have been rare cases where that has happened, but there is no concern about the water system that we have in our area at all.
Now, should people be concerned? We've honed in on Lake Claiborne in this particular case. Should we also be concerned about other lakes, because they're all in the same temperature? They're facing the same weather conditions as Lake Claiborne. Could this be an issue in other lakes, and should we be cautious about swimming in all of our lakes right now?
Yes, we should be. You're absolutely right. The water temperature is going to be elevated because of the heat that we've had, and so any fresh water, lake, pond, stream, could have this organism within it. So yes, the same precautions need to be taken if you are going to swim or have any water activities in any of these lakes or areas.
I know you can't talk about specific cases, but can you talk? This is apparently a child from the region. What is the treatment protocol if someone does have brain-eating amoeba? What is done medically for the patient?
Well, the current treatment is a combination of a number of medications that have the ability to reduce the proliferation of the organism and hopefully to kill it. And so multiple medications are really the current recommendation. The Centers for Disease Control has a program for this type of infection and is very helpful in providing information, diagnostic testing, but very importantly provides access to medications that can potentially be helpful in managing the infection. So working closely with the CDC really helps provide therapy as quickly as possible. In addition, the other thing that's really important is that this infection causes a fair amount of swelling in the brain. And so there is a significant effort to reduce brain swelling because that's a very serious consequence of this infection.
Dr. Joseph Bocchini, Willis Knighton, thank you so much for your time and sharing the information. We certainly appreciate it. A lot of folks in our community need to know about it. Thank you, sir.
So, Aaron, could I mention one thing?
Please do.
I think the public health information was really designed to help people reduce the risk. So one of the things, since this is an organism that does not cause intestinal infection, it doesn't cause skin infections, the only thing it does is cause this brain infection. So to try and reduce the risk of the brain infection, if you go swimming, you could always use nasal clips to prevent water from getting in the nose.
Okay.
You could be careful not to dive or underwater without trying to protect your nose. So that's certainly one of the things that you could do to reduce the risk of acquiring this infection.
Got you. Thank you, Dr. Joseph Bocchini. We appreciate your time.
Thank you very much, Aaron.
You bet. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL.
Back to the show with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Okay, I didn't watch all of the commission meeting. I watched pieces of it. But you say there was a speaker that got up and really, you think, crossed the line with the Caddo Commission yesterday.
There was a speaker yesterday at the Caddo Commission meeting, public comment section, very early after the pledge and the prayer, that yes, if this person did not cross a legal line. I'll say it like that.
Okay.
They actually crossed a legal line because you're given 3 minutes, and they clearly went past 3 minutes. And in the end, the commission chair actually had to ask the police to help escort this man out. It was not confrontational. The man did finally leave, but that means you crossed the line. Mm-hmm. I think they definitely crossed what I would call the line of civility, the line of coming to speak to elected officials, whether you like them or not. Mm-hmm. And I said in a lot of public meetings, there's an expectation that we're going to have a conversation.
Right.
And this person, in my mind, really threatened him, and he openly threatened him. He said, I'm going to be here every meeting. I'm going to be your nightmare.
What was his beef?
I don't know. And I don't even want to say the person's name. He goes by a moniker.
Okay.
And apparently this gentleman has survived cancer. So I do want to say congratulations. We're good for that.
Sure.
Survived stage 4 cancer because he shared that.
Right.
But he feels that the commission has disrespected the citizens. So now he's going to come and disrespect them at every meeting.
Wow.
Including refuse to call them commissioners.
Really?
Referred to several by their first name, which under the rules of speaking to most public bodies, you're really not allowed to call out an individual person.
No,
you're supposed
not.
to speak to the body, and more importantly, you're supposed to speak to an item on the agenda. The commission actually extended courtesy. I don't want to sound like I'm giving them too much credit here, but you're really supposed to come and speak to an item on the agenda.
Right.
Or raise a specific item. Mm-hmm. And neither of those were done. This was more of a, I'm your worst nightmare. I'm going to be here, and I'm going to keep being your worst nightmare. I thought it really crossed the civic line.
And after he spoke, they took a break, settle things down.
It took a few minutes to remove him.
Yeah.
He turns, and he also makes the other mistake you're not supposed to do when you speak to the public body. You're speaking to the public body, the people who are about to vote on something. That's really the intent. Well, then he turns and starts speaking to the audience. He starts preaching a little bit. I don't mean preaching in the religious sense,
right?
But up on a pedestal, kind of town hall preaching. And then they tell him you need to go, and he turns and says, "I'm not done till I say I'm done."
Whoa, okay.
And then you can hear a confrontation of sorts, either in the back of the room or out in the hallway, and that's when they just pause, and then the chairman says, "I think we'll take a 5-minute break."
Now, when they came back from the break, as they're starting to sit down, some hadn't left their seats, but some had, and as they're coming back, you see Victor Thomas go over to Ken Epperson. And Epperson is sitting in his seat. The mics are hot, folks.
So you're saying you see it because it's actually, I did not go this far. It's actually on the tape.
It's on the YouTube tape.
This does happen in public meetings. You must be aware. Those mics are hot.
They're hot.
Meaning they're still recording.
You can turn sideways away from them. They can still get your voice. You see Epperson light into Victor Thomas with F-bomb after F-bomb about we now have the majority. We have 7-5. And y'all need to be working with me. I'm tired of y'all effing with me, using the word, and not doing the things I want. And I'm working with y'all, and now y'all aren't working with me. I don't know what he was referencing, but I know he laced a bunch of F-bombs down on Mr. Victor Thomas. And that's just not appropriate in a public meeting like that. You got to know those mics are hot.
Well, and I did not see this because I really just watched public comments because I had looked at the agenda. And then I turned it off. But you're saying all of this, and I've seen this happen.
Yep.
All of this is not just we heard it happened. This is captured on video with audio, and they obviously weren't aware that it was being captured.
Right. And I have the audio. I'm not going to play it because it's horrible quality, and so you wouldn't be able to hear it correctly.
Because they're not standing next to the mic.
Right.
They're standing a few feet away, and it's what they call a hot mic in the media world.
Epperson's actually seated in his chair. He's at the dais there. And Victor Thomas is standing next to him, but they're turned away from the mics. But it's just not appropriate at a setting like that. Pull Mr. Thomas aside later and go, look, I have big issues with you. If you want to drop some F-bombs on him, then that's fine. Right there in front of a hot mic. But it was real clear. We got the majority. We need to be doing, things that'll help our community. And I thought, man,
so if I understand what you're describing, describing is two Democratic members of the commission that normally would be allies, and probably are allies.
Absolutely.
And it's kind of an inter-party fight. Like you're not supporting me, and I support you. I'm going to take the F-bombs out.
And he used, I'm going to drop an effing bomb in this place. if we don't start doing better. Something to that effect. Anyway.
I don't think he meant a literal bomb.
No,
But I think you got to be careful saying that in airports and public buildings these days.
He used the bomb word. He most certainly did. Heat warning now for our area. It's not just an advisory. We'll talk with Jeff Marr from the Weather Channel coming up in 10 right here on KEEL.
Now more breaking news and trending talk with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Back. Scott Hughes in for Mike Martindale today. I'm not going to name any names of a company, but a medical group has sent out a flyer in the mail. You might have gotten it in your mail. It's about reclaiming your life. If you're having, bladder and issues with your intestinal, your gut and all that they want to help you, and we can help you reclaim your life.
And that's good, because I think we're about to pick on their flyers. Let's be fair. At least what they're trying to do is good.
Oh, it's a great idea. It's a wonderful idea. And it's a great free seminar. You get lunch. You're going to learn all kinds of things about how to be healthier. It's a wonderful idea.
So it's a little light lunch while they give a presentation?
Well, it's at Golden Corral.
Golden Corral?
Yeah, it's at Golden Corral.
Golden Corral changed the menu?
Golden Corral's good for some at some time.
I'm not picking on Golden Corral. God bless Golden Corral. They certainly have a load of cars every time I pass it.
What medical group thought that was a good idea? They're
going to help you change your life, restore your bladder, you said, and
your gut health and all that.
We're going to start at Golden. That's the before picture, I think.
That's
and the before after.
Marketing genius, isn't it? Yeah.
To be fair, and this is why you and I off air we laughed about it, because that is hitting your target. That is knowing your target audience.
Yeah, think about it. Absolutely.
It's Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame.
Brilliant. It's brilliant. I love it. Anyway, I'm not going to name names, but anyway, I might show up. You never know. It's free lunch at Golden Corral. Hell, why not? Anyway, heat warnings for our area. How bad is it going to be? Any rain in sight? I heard some rumblings of maybe rain. We will ask Jeff Marr from the Weather Channel when we get back right here on KEEL.
Back with
Shop the Sherwin-Williams sale and get 30% off Duration, Superdeck, and Woodscapes products August 14th through the 24th. Whether you're refreshing your interior or exterior, we've got the colors to bring your vision to life. And with delivery, getting everything to your door is easier than ever. Shop online to have it delivered or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Click the banner to learn more. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details. Delivery available on qualifying orders.
McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
On the Jack Spring Electric Newsmaker Hotline, our friend Jeff Marr from the Weather Channel is joining us this morning. God, can we get some relief? I heard somebody mention rain, but it's just been hot and steamy, and now a heat warning. We're included in that this time, right?
We certainly are. Extreme heat warning that's in effect until 9 o'clock tonight, and the Weather Service will reassess for tomorrow. We will be either under a heat advisory tomorrow, I think, or another extreme heat warning. They'll look at the data, and as far as tomorrow, it's still going to be very hot and humid if you're going to be spending some time out and about this weekend, unfortunately.
Now, explain to folks who may not know, we've done this many times before, but a heat advisory versus a heat warning. What's the point? What's the mark?
A heat advisory, when we expect the heat index to get up there close to 110, that's when you take the actual air temperature and the humidity level, combine those, and it results in an apparent temperature, which is how hot it actually feels to you when you're outside. So when we get a number up close to 110, we're under a heat advisory. We get above 110, that's where we're in extreme heat warning territory. And as today, we may have a heat index up there between 113, maybe 114, or even 115. So that's why we're in that extreme heat warning territory. And you really got to take this seriously. If you have to be outside, if you're working, or if the kids are playing some sports, make sure you're hydrated, they're hydrated. Take breaks if you can. Get under some shade. Or the best advice, obviously, is to get inside some air-conditioned environments. But that's not always possible, obviously, when you're working or playing outside.
We often forget, too, Jeff, about our pets that are typically outdoor pets. You got to kind of adjust that in these kind of horrid days, right?
Yeah, you certainly do. It really will impact them as well, and definitely do not want to leave them in any kind of car situation there. That can certainly be deadly, and obviously that applies to kids as well, of course. And, we just unfortunately can't get much relief. It has been a very hot August. The all-time hottest month we've ever had was back in 2011 when we had an average temperature that was way up there of 91.5 degrees. That's when you had the high with the low. Well, so far this month, our average temperature is 87.1 when you take into account the high and low temperatures, which is about 2.5 degrees above average. So we may not have the all-time mark in sight as we end the month, but we may be up there in the top 5. It has certainly been a very hot one.
Jeff, this is Scott Hughes. Good morning. Is there any relief in sight? I mean, we also keep hearing Labor Day. I mean, last night I was staying up late praying for rain. There was some rain north of us. I kept saying, come on, you can do it. When do we get any relief?
Well, unfortunately, we've got a front that's stalled out to our north, and we have high pressure down in the Gulf and low pressure across the southwest. So our winds have been up from the south and the southwest, boosting that humidity. Now, we may have a few isolated thunderstorms this afternoon. It's kind of a good news, bad news situation. If we do get some thunderstorms, that would obviously bring the temperatures down a little bit, but it also would increase the humidity. And also, we have so much energy available. If we do fire up any thunderstorms today, they'll be capable of some damaging wind gusts and maybe some hail. So that's something we'll be watching out for this afternoon and early this evening, possibly again tomorrow afternoon, and then just hot, humid, and dry as we head from Sunday into Monday of next week. A high Sunday near 100, upper 90s Monday. Then we're back into the triple digits for Tuesday and next Wednesday. So it's been a long time since we've been close to that average high of 95 degrees.
And then we have people who work outside. I think for the most part it's difficult, but they're aware of it. They're professionals, contractors, utility people, et cetera. But this is Friday in the fall in the South. We're about to start high school football. What warning or advice would you have for people that might be going out, to be honest, tonight to high school football games, scrimmages, by next week, definitely maybe full-time, regular football games? What should the average person who may not go outside a whole lot and think, oh, let's go to the football game tonight, what should they be aware of?
Well, loose-fitting, light-colored clothing, definitely your best bet, and drink as much water as you possibly can, or any kind of sports drinks with electrolytes to stay hydrated. And, the coaches these days have a better handle, obviously. Back in the day when I had those two-a-days and, it was not quite as, it was a concern, obviously, but I think they're a little bit better up to date on the heat and the problems we can face these days. So hopefully they'll be taking that into account as we head towards the start of the season. We've got practices and, not just football, other sports as well. So, yeah, anyone that's going to be spending a lot of time outdoors and undergoing any kind of work, or if you're doing some exercise, you need to take precautions to deal with this heat.
Let's talk drought a minute. How are the drought conditions in our area? We are under burn bans for several parts of Louisiana now. You anticipate that continuing?
Well, just a few isolated thunderstorms. I don't think we're going to have any widespread rain. Certainly, if we get any thunderstorms, they'll be isolated in nature today and this evening, again tomorrow afternoon. But then a stretch of dry weather as we head from tomorrow night all the way into the middle part of next week. Maybe later Wednesday and Thursday we'll have a few isolated thunderstorms. We're not talking any kind of widespread soaking rainfall that could help us out. And, usually this time of year we're talking about tropical systems because the peak of the season is coming up here as we head towards September. But with this strong El Nino pattern, we're really not seeing much at all as far as any activity in the Atlantic and the Gulf anytime soon. So, if you're hoping for maybe some relief as far as some heavy rains with the tropical system, we're not expecting that anytime soon for sure.
And maybe last question, Jeff, because we also are tending to get more power outages these days when the power grid gets stressed. If power goes out, what should somebody do? Are you safe to stay in your house without air if the windows don't open? Or what's your advice if power goes out at your house?
Well, obviously, your best bet would be to go try and find some air conditioning somewhere, whether it's, other family or friends or neighbors, and, maybe for a little bit farther away that would have some power. But, yeah, that's also the problem. Not only are you talking about daytime highs in the triple digits, but we're talking about overnight lows that are close to 80. So it's really, it's hard to get some relief when you're dealing with this long of a stretch of very hot temperatures in the afternoon and even some uncomfortable heat and humidity at night. So, yeah, your best bet is obviously to get into air conditioning if you can. Jeff
Marr with the Weather Channel. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Try to stay as cool as possible. It's going to be tough as we head towards next week.
You bet. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL.
Get back to the show with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
To take a minute today to friend of the show. It's been a minute since he's been on. I don't know if he's in town right now or not, but James Burton having a birthday today. Local legend. He's a legendary guitar player. Of course, we know him for being Elvis's guitar player.
He was Elvis's guitar player. Stood on stage next to Elvis and a world-renowned star in his own right.
But so many other musicians consider him one of the greatest guitar players of all time. And so it is...
and largely has lived in Shreveport his whole life.
Yes.
Matter of fact,
yes.
We were talking off air. We're aware he had at least 3 homes here. One near you at the lake.
Yeah.
Actually, one right around the corner from me in town. And then I've been told he had a third property over in East Texas where he kept the cars.
Okay. I also believe he has a home in Nashville. I think he may actually be living in Nashville
we
now.
We think he's up there now. He's had some medical challenges. It's been well recorded. We wish him well.
He's 87 today.
Happy birthday.
I will tell the story that's kind of embarrassing, but it's a true story. We would go out on our boat, and my husband at the time would go long. I'm so lazy. Y'all know. I act like I'm not a diva, but I am a diva.
This is not a 12-step program.
Yeah, I know.
We know who you are.
And so my husband at the time would drive the boat over to James Burton's dock, and I would just walk across the street and get on the boat instead of going with him to the launch and going through all the launch stuff and all that. He would launch it. I'd go to James Burton's dock.
So y'all didn't have a dock?
We're across the street.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
so
we're
he'd
across the
go
street.
all around the corner, get the marina, bring the boat back, and you'd cut your neighbor's yard.
Yeah,
okay.
Just jump on. This one time, my mom's with me. So my mom and I get on the boat, and we go for a nice little outing on the boat. And then he drops us back off at James Burton's dock, a little before sunset.
Not your property.
Not my property, but Burton knew he did it. I mean, he gave us permission. It was fine.
Sure, we'll assume that.
And we get off the boat this particular time, and we come up, we walk up the property to go cross the street, and the gate is closed and locked.
Oh, so now you're locked on your neighbor's property.
Uh-huh.
Maybe there's a legal term for that, but go ahead.
Locked onto James Burton's property. Can't figure a way to get out. The fence is too tall to climb. My mother's with me. We're not svelte women. Let's just leave it at that, okay? So we go into he had like a gatehouse, where you might, like in the old days, you might have a guy in there in the little gatehouse.
I'm struggling to keep up. Have we just moved from trespassing to breaking and entering? Is that where we're headed now?
Pretty close,
okay.
Yeah. Pretty close. We get into the little gatehouse, and it's got a window overlooking, the road where you could. And so we open the window, and there's a man mowing across the street.
We'll call him a witness.
Yeah, we're so stupid. We start hollering at him. Like, what's he going to do? He can't open the gate.
Hopefully call the police for this story.
And he actually comes over. How he heard us over the lawnmower, I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe he stopped
I heard you weren't svelte women.
We're not. We're not. And he found some sort of step stool where we could climb through the window, and because it was kind of high. The window was kind of high, and I was afraid Mama would get hurt. We were able to climb through that gatehouse window.
Because of an accomplice.
Yes, and get on the step stool and get down and cross the street. But it took a while. We were there. We were stuck there for a good hour. We were stuck trespassing on Mr. Burton's property for a good hour, trying to figure out how we were going to get. And I'm wondering, where is my husband now? Why isn't he coming looking for us?
He's somewhere humming Jailhouse Rock.
Well, he's cleaning the boat. He probably gets the boat back on the trailer, and he goes to a car wash and cleans the boat. He's thinking we're home. Oh, what a night that was. What a night. We get home, it's dark. Anyway, Todd Toma, Caddo Parish Coroner, is going to join us coming up after 7 o'clock. Heat warning versus heat advisory, things you need to look for. We will be joined by the coroner coming up after 7 right here on KEEL. On the Jack Spring Electric Newsmaker Hotline, we are joined by Caddo Parish Coroner Dr. Todd Toma. Scott Hughes is in for Mike Martindale today, Doc, and they just have upgraded our heat advisory. It's now a heat warning through 9 o'clock tonight. In your world, does that make a huge difference? Do we need to be more alert today, obviously?
Absolutely. First of all, good morning. Thanks for having me, guys. Mm-hmm. Yes, anytime the temperature gets up this high, I mean, we start seeing heat-related illnesses when the temperature's in the mid-80s to low 90s. When we get over 100, the risk for heat-related illnesses goes up dramatically. So, yeah, this is a really tough time for us.
Heat-related illnesses. Describe what you're seeing right now, what doctors are seeing.
Well, heat-related illnesses run a gambit from very minor stuff like prickly heat and heat cramps to heat exhaustion, which is a little bit more serious. And heat exhaustion is characterized by a mild increase in temperature, usually from about 100 up to about 104. People get out in the heat, they get overheated, they sweat a lot, and then they start feeling really sick. They feel like they have the flu. They have nausea, headaches, body aches, cramps, etc. And it almost feels like the flu. But that's a warning sign that you're getting dehydrated and you're overheated and your temperature's gone up. That's not a true medical emergency, but it does require attention. And people need to get out of the heat. They need to get into a cool environment. They need to cool down with damp cloths. They need to drink a lot of fluids and stay hydrated. That'll resolve itself. But the worst, and the one that we see in the emergency department, and the one that I see as coroner, is heat stroke. And heat stroke is a true medical emergency. And that it doesn't go, these don't progress. They don't go from prickly heat to heat cramps to heat exhaustion to heat stroke. Heat stroke is a sudden onset of overwhelming heat. And what happens is your body's ability to regulate temperature no longer works. So that machine of your body still produces heat, but you're not able to dissipate that heat. And the heat rises very quickly, very dramatically. And the temperature can go anywhere from 100 up to 104 up to 110, 112. I mean, the temperature goes extremely high. People don't know it's going to happen. That's the worst part about heat stroke. Like I said, there aren't a lot of warning signs. It's characterized by a sudden onset of mental status, a change in mental status, seizures, blacking out, confused behaviors. But people frequently think that it's a mental health crisis because people become confused and disoriented. They may throw their clothes off. They may run out in the street. They may start talking incoherently. If you don't suspect that it's a heat-related illness, then a lot of times it'll be missed. And this is the time of year that we tell first responders and emergency departments that they need to have a high index of suspicion and look for this and check that person's temperature immediately, because untreated, it has an extremely high mortality. In fact, it has a high mortality if you treat it. So it's a true medical emergency. That's when you call 911. And people need to take every chance they possibly can have to avoid situations where they'd be at higher risk.
Dr. Toma, good morning. Scott Hughes. And thank you for all you do. This may be wives' tale over the years. I was an Eagle Scout, did different things, have had minor training. I've always heard rumors that things like sweating or urinating can be good indicators, too, when you're hot. Is water moving through your system? Is that true? Is there any truth to that? Sweating or urinating can be a signal as well?
It's a signal that you are adequately hydrated most of the time. Now, there is an old wives' tale that people that have heat stroke stop sweating, and some do, some don't. So it can be there even if people are sweating. But yes, if you're adequately hydrated and you can still make urine and you still sweat profusely, then you're adequately hydrated. But it doesn't take away your risk for heat stroke. Your heat stroke can still happen at any given time. Now, it's much less likely to happen in people that are adequately hydrated, and that's what I tell people now, that this is the time of year that they need to stay out of the heat, especially during the worst parts of the day, the middle of the day. They need to drink plenty of fluids. They need to have light-colored cotton clothing on. If they get overheated, they need to get into a cool area and use a damp cloth and use a fan to help bring their temperature down. Other people, and I tell this frequently, that people that are at risk are the very young and the very old, and people that have a lot of health conditions and are on a lot of medications, particularly mental health medications and stimulants. drug abusers that use methamphetamine and cocaine and stimulants like that make it high risk for this to happen too. But this is a time of year when we really have to be vigilant, and we have to check on our neighbors, especially people that don't have air conditioning and maybe using a box fan. We need to make sure that they're okay. It's just a terrible time of the year.
Dr. Toma, let me ask you, have you had any heat-related deaths this summer in Caddo Parish?
Yeah, we have several every year. The problem with heat-related illnesses, and this is a strange thing, but when you get to autopsy, there's nothing that you can tell. There's nothing that just shows up and says that's heat-related. So if we find someone dead outside or in an unair-conditioned house after a day or two, then the temperature of that body is going to be the same temperature as the environment. So you don't know at that time whether or not it was a heat-related illness. Now, I'm telling you that to tell you that we've had probably 3 or 4, maybe 5 confirmed deaths in Caddo Parish this year that we know were heat-related, and then we've got a few others, maybe a little less than a handful of others that I suspect, but I may never be able to prove. So when you look at the mortality rate of heat-related illnesses across the country, it's probably underreported.
And Dr. Toma, as the coroner, we hear oftentimes in the news, check on your neighbors, check on the elderly. What does that mean to you? If someone's, if I don't see Mr. Bob, my next-door neighbor, for 2 or 3 days, what should I do? And especially if I suspect that I really haven't seen Mr. Bob for a day or two, what should I do? Who should I call?
Well, there's a couple of things that you need to do. First, you try to make just a regular checking on them by knocking on the door, seeing if they're okay, et cetera. If nobody answers and their car's in the driveway and you haven't seen them, then if you really suspect that there's something wrong, you call 911 or you call the police department and ask for a welfare check. And they can go out and try to do a welfare check. And if we need to force entry, we force entry. If they find that a body is deceased, then they call the coroner's office and we start the investigation from there. But the most important thing is to do whatever you can to prevent this. If you know people are in an environment where they don't have air conditioning in the house, central air in the house, and they use box fans, those are people that need to be checked on frequently. You need to make sure that they have food and water, hydration to be able to do that. If they get too hot, those are ones that you want to dash down with some water, a cold bathtub or a cool cloth. But those are the ones or they need to go somewhere that they can find air conditioning. Bring your neighbor into your house. But it's a terrible time of year, and like I said, this is. I'm not going to say it's completely preventable, but many of these cases are preventable.
Doc, I have to think, and I have to ask you because this is so personal. When we get days like this where we're under a heat warning, I think about you and I think about the people that I'm going to drive by today that are homeless, that are sleeping on bus benches and trying to get in somewhere. We have cooling centers are open, but some of these people won't go. You must in your heart worry on days like this about those folks.
Oh, absolutely. I do it on almost every day because it's so often that we see that people that are not taken care of and because of poor health and other reasons have to be outside and are exposed to the environment. But I also worry that at times like this about people that do their everyday work. Even though they're acclimated to the heat, you see people out doing yard work and construction workers and et cetera. Now, most of the time they take breaks. They have lots of stuff to keep them hydrated. A lot of companies will work earlier in the morning and late in the evening and take the middle of the day off. But especially people that have to be out there because they're at risk. There's 2 different kinds of heat stroke. One of them is called the classic heat stroke, and the other is the exertional heat stroke. And classic is the one that you just don't know when it's going to happen. And exertional heat stroke is the people that drop dead on the tennis court at times like this.
Right.
These are times just not to be out in the heat.
Absolutely. Caddo Parish Coroner Dr. Todd Toma, thanks for joining us today. We sure appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. 1017 FM, 710 KEEL.
Now more breaking news and trending talk with Mike and McCarty on 1017 FM and 710 KEEL.
Coming up in about 15 minutes, we're going to talk about the local housing market, real estate, what's selling, when should you buy a new house, when should you sell your house, is it a buyer's market, seller's market? Scott is the expert. Scott Hughes is the expert on that, and I'm going to pick his brain. I'm going to pick his brain for a little while. I got a pickaxe out. But I got a flyer from a few people. This has come in to a few people. I probably have it in my mailbox. I just haven't gone to my mailbox in a week or two.
We talked about this last hour, and people actually texted us copies of their copy of this flyer.
Lots of people got this flyer.
And we're not going to say the company because we're
not saying that. It doesn't matter. It's you know what? I think it's brilliant because the whole city's going to be talking about it now.
I think they hit their target market. I said, I'm the housing guy today, yes. But in my background, I helped run one of the largest ad agencies in this market, and you and I both know marketing, and I think this is marketing gold.
I think they were sitting around a table and said, where do we have this event? And they decided where to have it would get them attention.
So what's the event?
The event is a medical seminar, which is called Reclaim Your Life. It's by a group that does like gut health, for your gut health things.
Bladder, gut, internal.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yes.
So that's how, and that's we are going to be a little lighthearted here, but let's make it clear. We support that.
Absolutely.
We support people getting medical help, and this is good.
I probably need to go to this. It's a free lunch seminar.
And these are done by financial people, doctors.
Yep.
So they're going to hold a free lunch seminar where you're going to come and learn about how to improve your life in the bathroom and the bladder and that area.
All that stuff. And it's coming up September 2nd, if you're interested. You can find the flyer everywhere now, I'm sure. And guess where they're having this seminar for gut health? Golden Corral.
And that's why we think this is marketing gold.
Genius. This is genius. Because the people that typically would eat regularly at a place, which is a buffet, you can eat all you want. I'm not dissing Golden Corral. And maybe have gut problems.
And, of course, the joke is you could buy all the advertising you want at the salad bar, and that's not your target market.
They're not coming to see you. They don't need you.
This company, this ad company, I give them a Goldie. I give them this is a golden award for hitting your target market in advertising.
I see them around the table going, Superior Steakhouse? Two Johns? Let's see. Monjuni's? How about Golden Corral? Let's do this free lunch at Golden Corral.
And to be fair, we are not, the one name we're saying, I want to be fair, is Golden Corral. And I don't want to say pick on Golden Corral. Nope. They have a parking lot full. Their business model works. They're doing well as a restaurant.
I'm not dissing them. What they do great. And lots of people love them. I've eaten there plenty of times. I'm going to readily admit it's just brilliant. It's just brilliant. I just find it's funny, brilliant. And I think, you know what? I think they planned it. I think they said, these are the people we need to reach. So let's give them a free lunch where they like to go. And maybe we can convince them they need to see, maybe we can help them.
And since we are kind of making a little fun at their expense, let me close and be real. If you need this help, we hope you seek it.
Absolutely.
Let's make it clear. You should get medical help if you need medical help.
Absolutely. No doubt about it. We're going to talk to Scott Hughes coming up in about 10 minutes. What neighborhoods are hot? What's selling? What are some struggles in the housing market locally? He's got all the details because I gave him about 3 minutes to bring it all up. So he's on it. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL.
Stories of the day with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
We're talking about brawls and fights. And I'm not going to ask you what I asked you earlier, but I do want to know if you saw the brawl that happened between the Cowboys and the Saints. They hold a joint practice, and then they go at it. There's a brawl during the practice between the players.
I heard a rumor it turned into $1 million prize fight.
It was pretty good.
I think I heard. I did not see it, so no, I did not. I don't follow preseason. I draw the line somewhere, so I don't follow preseason. But I do think I saw a report that the NFL fined each of the teams $500,000.
$500,000 each. My question to you is real quick because I know we're going to come back and dive deep into housing. Why are opposing teams? Why are they joint practicing together? I don't remember that happening. Is it a new thing?
No, it always happens. In preseason practice, you generally practice with your team for a week or two. Often it's drills first, then you go 1 versus 1s, defense versus offense.
Okay.
And then you hit a point where in a contact sport, sometimes it's good to play somebody else.
Okay.
Because otherwise you're fighting your own team. And that regularly happens. The Saints have always gone and scrimmage somebody. You have scrimmage games.
Mm-hmm.
Even in high school, it's very common that you'll go scrimmage against another team.
Right.
Because otherwise, after a while, your defense knows your offense's plays. You're not getting that real reaction that you want.
Okay.
And unfortunately, and then this does happen in training camp in the pros a lot, because what you have is, let's be honest, half the roster is going to be gone in 3 weeks.
Yes,
they're they're literally fighting for a spot on the roster.
Right. No doubt about it. I think part of it has to do with, you're hitting too hard in a practice. Stop that. You're hitting our quarterback. And so they get tempers flare when
practice. We talk about practice?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the issue. Some guys want to really stand out. They want to make the big hit. You make a mistake and hit the guy wearing the red jersey, which means don't hit me.
Right.
And then that's their moneymaker, and it's on now.
Yeah, absolutely. They're coming for you. No doubt about it. Our local housing market, some of our numbers still showing our population declining. What is that? Is that having an impact on housing? And with all the data centers and all the other economic boom that is coming, are we seeing that impact the local housing market? Scott Hughes is an expert in that area, and he will tell us all about it when we get back right here on KEEL.
Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
KEEL with my friend Scott Hughes. For people that don't know, what is your regular day job? This is just this is your Uber, your Uber what Eats, where you deliver our coffee in the morning and come have fun with us.
Well, I've long had a policy in the community. I go where I'm invited.
Yep.
So you invite me out here a lot. Channel 3 invites me to come on. I'm not an employee. You've never paid me a dime.
Never have.
Channel 3's never paid me a dime. I won't take the money. I just come where I'm invited. I speak anywhere. But my day job, I am the CEO of the Northwest Louisiana Association of Realtors.
Okay.
So I run the trade association for about 1,600 licensed real estate agents. I'm the head housing guy. I'm not licensed. I say I'm not an attorney all the time.
Right.
I'm also not a licensed broker. I'm not allowed to hold a license.
Okay.
But I run sort of the industry, the CE, and then I run a business called the MLS, the multi-list service.
Okay.
So if you're seeing a house on any of the websites, one of my brokerages, one of the national websites, we're how it got there.
How many houses sell in the Shreveport Bossier market every month? On average.
Every month on average?
Just about, yeah.
On average, on a monthly basis, it's probably between 400 and 450.
Okay.
Remember, some years are better than others.
All right.
Well, the number that we know is on an annual basis, we generally sell about 5,000 houses. It's plus or minus. In some of the COVID years, we got as high as 6,500. We've been as low as 4,000, but 5,000 would be a benchmark for homes sold.
Right.
And when we say the market, we refer to Northwest Louisiana, probably your large radio listening, which is the 7 parishes here in Northwest Louisiana.
What is the market doing now to prices? Where are prices for housing in our area right now?
Well, it's kind of a joke. I'll say the other way. House prices is doing it to the market. I don't know if the market's doing much to house prices. Okay. But prices are out of control. And we don't control prices. Inflation. A lot of things control the price of a house, availability. And unfortunately, this is an area for consumers that's gone out of control. I like to tell people, and math is always difficult. Math in public's difficult. Sure. A lot of numbers can be confusing, so I try to make it very simple. If you go back to about 2017, 2018, we call it pre-COVID.
Sure.
The average home in Northwest Louisiana was about $180,000. So the average 1,600 square foot, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home, an average home, $180,000.
Okay.
Today, that same home, $260,000.
An $80,000 increase?
Yes. In just about 8 years. Now, if you backed up, for the decades before COVID, we would have been between 170 and 180,000. Hardly any equity. General small percentage increase every year because homes do. It's still one of the greatest investments of all time because you end up owning your home and it gains in equity. But there's been so much growth in equity, so much price growth that what you could buy, a person that could qualify for a home in this community in 17, 18 can't even buy a house probably today.
Yeah.
The incomes have not kept up.
It's impacting young people, I would assume.
Tremendously young people because, traditionally you want to be able to put 10%, 20% down. Mm-hmm. There's certain rules. You got to have credit. You got to have a job. The general rule of thumb is 1/3. 1/3 of your income may pay for your housing, whether it's rent or buying.
Right.
And if incomes don't go up and housing goes up, as I just said, and that's the average house.
What would drive prices down?
Well, the things that will drive prices down, quite frankly, will be if we have an oversupply. Housing's basically supply and demand. Mm-hmm. If we have more houses for sale than people that are buying them, well, then sooner or later the seller's going to cut price. Pretty standard economics, 101. The other things that might drive housing prices down would be if people can find a better way today, if they can build them cheaper. Okay. And that's not happening.
Because all the supplies you need to build a house, the prices for all that's gone up.
Well, this is where economic policy, and we're going to try to avoid politics here.
Sure.
Okay, because when we do the business, business is business. But I'll ask you, what's the number one product or thing that goes into building of a house? It's a pretty simple question. Lumber. It's wood. Guess where most of the wood comes from? Even though we're surrounded by it. Yeah. Guess where the large majority of wood comes from for building products? Canada. Which is a whole country of nothing but trees.
Oh, wow.
And so wood is, yes, we have wood. We have lumber factories here. Yeah, there's American domestic wood. But a lot of wood comes from Canada, for example. Mm-hmm. Guess what else goes in homes? Garage doors, refrigerators, electronics, everything you want, tile.
Sure.
A lot of it shipped in. All of that got tariffed, and also the supply chain slowed down.
Right.
It costs more to get here. The price goes up. Labor goes up. And so price of houses have gone out of control, but yet we're still selling those 5,000 a year.
Yeah, those numbers don't change much, right?
The numbers don't change. I think we had Justin Dixon on the other day to put this in a larger perspective. If our listeners missed that, they have announced now a total of $18 billion for these 3 data centers. Mm-hmm. Okay, to put that number in perspective, if it takes 6 years to build those,
right,
and they spend $3 billion a year, and kind of if you're doing the math there, every home we sell in a 7-parish area in a year is $1.3 billion.
Wow.
If it gives you how much impact those data centers are going to have.
Goodness. Our last minute or two. The hottest areas. What are the hottest areas right now in the metro area? Shreveport,
well, Bossier remains strong, but probably the 2 hottest areas still remain the Benton area. People want to really move up in the Benton area, Houghton, sort of that East Bossier type approach. And then really the area that's growing up fastest right now, I think statistically, would be either the Stonewall, North DeSoto area, and then this concept we call Blanchard. Because the city of Blanchard, and we have a mayor's race going in Blanchard, but the city of Blanchard's not very big. But when a lot of people say Blanchard, they're not meaning the city. They're meaning that North Shreveport area.
Yeah.
And it's exploding.
Mm-hmm. So those are the 3 hot areas. Benton, Stonewall, Blanchard. Shreveport still has some, Southeast Shreveport still pretty growth?
Southeast Shreveport's still very popular, especially in the high end. For the night, the more expensive homes, Southeast Shreveport does really well.
Absolutely. Stacey Mellerine, Bessie member, we're going to talk about the new PE requirements. Things will be changing for the next school year. They just finalized that this week, and we'll have an update coming up just after 8 right here on KEEL.
Let's get back to the show with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
I want to ask you about something that we talked a little bit about, and I think this is now going too far. I think when we take AI and we go to this length, we've gone too far. The FDA has now approved this little gadget called Aletta. Aletta.
I'm not familiar with that.
Aletta.
Aletta.
First standalone robotic device that can draw blood from your arm without a hands-on operator.
That's a negative, Ghost Rider.
Negative. I am never doing that.
There's no... Now... robotic surgery, that's one thing, and that's being done in doctors. I mean,
sure.
so I'm not going to say I'm never going to let a robot operate on me. That's different.
I probably already have. I don't even know it.
But
yeah.
You're telling me a robot's going to stick a needle in my arm.
And draw your blood.
Right now, that is a hard no.
Who says yes to that? Who sits in the chair and says, yep, bring the little gadget over here. Hook me up. Now, I have had bad experiences with what are they called, phlebotomist? Is that the right word?
A human being misses every now and then.
They miss every now and then. I have rolling veins, so I'm very cautious about it. And I'm not good. I'm not a good patient. If you miss, I'm like, I think I'm going to.
I think I told you off there. I'm the same way. I tell the phlebotomist, you get one shot.
Yeah.
No digging around. You miss, I'll come back tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll get a moon pie another day.
I'm needle adverse.
Yes, I'm the same way. So is a robot going to be better than a human? Some will claim yes, they will be more accurate than a human.
I'm sure statistically, yes, it can happen. I'll tell you the other thing I'm in. Tell me the robots fly on the plane. I'm not comfortable.
Oh, I'm so down with you on that.
Now, I have yet to ride in a fully autonomous car.
Couldn't do it.
I know they're out there, but I've yet to get in a car with no human driver and it drives itself.
You're sitting in the back seat and there's no driver.
My comfort level's not there yet.
I'm not there. I could not get in that car.
But you can probably show me all the statistics, and I'm pretty sure there's statistics that says that robot taxi is way safer than the manual taxi.
Yes.
But when it comes to I'm there and the needle's going in my arm, I'm a hard no right now.
This little Aletta, I'm not going to call her a name, but I'm thinking it. She's going to come up with the needle and going to get the right vein? Going to get it the first try? What does she say if she misses? Oh, I had a blowout. Oh, I'm sorry. I had a blowout. Bye, Aletta. Don't need no moon pie.
I always go back to, when you talk AI, I always go back to one of my favorite movies. It's 50 years old. If you know the reference, I'm sorry, Dave. I can't do that. and it terrifies me.
That's from the movie, in case people missed it.
Yes.
2001's
Space Odyssey, when the computer locks the astronaut out and you realize the computer killed the astronaut.
Mm-hmm. Wow. There's no robot coming near. That's just not happening. But they're saying they've tested it. It works. It's a good thing. I don't know.
I think robots can do a lot of things. I think there's still a role for humans. I'm going to go on the record. There's still a role for humans.
Physical education. I'm wondering what parents are going to say when they hear about the new requirements for PE in Louisiana schools that has been approved. It will be implemented next school year. It's a game changer.
They're bringing dodgeball back?
Not quite dodgeball, but kids are going to have to get up and move every day. Anyway, Stacey.
I want to ask Stacey Mellerin. I want to ask her, are they bringing the rope test back? That was my nemesis in high school, was the rope test.
He's not a fan of the rope test. He's definitely not. You're a little bitter about that, aren't you? It's got a little salty down there. We will talk to Stacey Mellerin about these new requirements, what it means, what they're hoping it will do for our youngsters. That's on the way after 8 o'clock right here on KEEL. .101.7 FM, 710 KEEL on the Jack Spring Electric Newsmaker Hotline. Bessie member Stacey Mellerin, who represents our area, northwest part of the state. Big changes are on the way for physical education in Louisiana schools. Good morning, Bessie member Mellerin. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm well. How are you?
I'm great. What are the changes ahead? What's coming for our youngsters?
We have some really exciting and great changes coming to PE at next school year. And it's nothing was wrong with our standards, but it is part of our 7-year review process for all new standards. The new standards are going to be built to foster a lifelong movement, and they're making sure that they're developmentally appropriate for every learner. So from kindergarten through 12th grade, it's going to allow students to learn through movement and work on their foundational movement skills.
We still have questions, though, about how much PE is required. I think in kindergarten through middle school, it's 30 minutes a day. Is that right?
That is, and it's excluding recess time. So those are separate times for kids to get out and move throughout the school day.
And high school, it's way less than that. What are the requirements in high school?
In high school, it is less, and that is because we are working to get all of those other requirements in throughout the school day and allow students to pick up some electives throughout their school day. There's also opportunities for schools that like to do the block scheduling to have students do sports blocks. So it's a little bit deceptive there. If a student is involved in athletics, they are having some increased movement, even if they're not necessarily getting it in full-time PE.
It's 1.5 credits for their whole high school session. Is that right?
It is, and some schools allow them to have the opportunity to do PE electives or sports block electives.
And they have an option to substitute in high school, too, like a junior ROTC, a couple of other options, cheerleading, some other things, right?
Correct. And that is so a student and their family can tailor their high school career path to be what that student wants to focus on during high school and prepare them for the life outside of school.
Okay, these PE requirements, to the parents that might be listening, are their kids going to have to run a mile? Are their kids going to have to play basketball? What physical requirements will there be there? There's going to be kids that you and I both know are going to be challenged. What will they be required to physically do?
No, so they will not be required to play specific sports. That is left to the individual schools to choose how they want to implement the standards. So there's a lot more added flexibility for schools and systems to decide what is right for their school, their area, what equipment that they have on campus to do. And so it really is. So, for instance, kindergarten through first graders, those kids are going to be introduced to physical movement and activities, and then those skills are going to build throughout their progression to really build upon each other. So students will be prepared for what's to come in the next grade levels.
Will there be some opt-out availabilities for some parents if there are some issues with a child?
Yes, there are always opt-out availabilities for parents when it's not appropriate for their child's education, and that would be something I would encourage them to visit with their individual school systems and leaders about.
What we really need to talk about, Stacey Mellarine, is the elephant in the room, and I hate to use that animal because we have a health crisis with regard to our children and the foods they've been eating and the obesity rates, and our kids are just sitting behind their phones or their digital devices, and they're not getting out and being active like I was when I was a child. We've got to find a way to combat that. I think this is a good step for the schools. Could it be life-changing for some of these kids to get them on a more healthy pathway?
It is. These fitness standards were designed by educators to have lifelong engagement with our students. In high school, students learn the importance of fitness planning and independent application. That starts actually in 6th grade, where they're really coming up with a strategy to maintain a healthy lifestyle.
And will they hear from experts and their PE coaches that these are some things that you can and should do for the rest of your life, like you just mentioned, that can keep you healthy and avoid? Will they see some of the consequences of if they don't?
Absolutely. That's an integral part of the standards, is that it really is to foster lifelong engagement and stress to kids. That is a health important goal, to make them stronger, more fit. And it helps keep your brain sharp if your body is active. So that is pushed into the standards.
Will there be some exposure for these youngsters to maybe sports that they may never get a chance to play? Maybe tennis, maybe pickleball, maybe volleyball. I mean, I could list a bunch. Will there be, schools can choose and pick and choose what they would like? Is that a possibility that maybe these kids will learn to love a sport that they didn't even think they could play?
Oh, absolutely. That's the great thing about these standards, is that it gives schools the opportunity and flexibility to expose their children to things that they may not see, rather than us at a state level saying, this is precisely what you need to do day by day. It does allow those school leaders to come in and be creative with their curriculum and figure out what's missing from their communities and what their community enjoys.
Will you be able to, and I know this is difficult, will you be able to measure the results of life-changing things that have happened? I know it'll take a while. It's not something we're going to see immediately, but are you hoping we'll be able to measure some success rates with regard to these changes?
Oh, absolutely. And it goes hand in hand with what is going on at the federal level. President Trump has brought back the presidential fitness test that you might remember from when we were in school.
You bet.
And so that has been integrated into the LDOE's standards and Bossier standards about aiming and striving for those fitness levels in an age-appropriate way.
There are going to be some educators and some physical education teachers listening to this interview that may say, are you sending us some money with these mandates? Are we going to be able to buy balls and equipment that we might need for some of these sports? Is there going to be some money attached, or is that up to the schools to find the cash?
Well, that's up to the schools to find the cash, but the good news about these standards are that they do not include unfunded mandates in. It is basically a rollback of some of those mandates that were included in the prior standards, but we have loosened those guidelines to allow schools more flexibility to use the materials that they have.
And we know here locally, I could give you probably are very familiar with Caddo Middle Magnet. I think they do a walking program. I think they've been doing that for a long time, 10, 15, maybe longer, many years, where the kids at PE, they know they're going to go walk. It could be as simple as that, right?
Absolutely. And, I love to see those programs in the school. I've seen them at Caddo Magnet. They're even bringing them into the elementary programs. I know South Highlands has a program similar with a running club after school. There's so many ways for schools to get creative and foster that love of movement and fitness for kids that can last a whole lifetime.
Appreciate your time. Stacey Mellering, Bessie member from our area. Thank you so much for joining us. Interesting. We'll be watching this.
Thank you, Erin. Have a great morning.
You bet. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL.
Breaking news and trending talk with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Okay, we are on. Y'all be careful. Y'all be real careful. God, who let her in the room?
Hi.
Hello.
This was not part of my contract.
Hola.
I've asked for HR to show
Can
up.
you say human resources?
Chica's here. She just barges in.
First off, I didn't just barge in.
I know. I have a question for you.
I have an answer.
In fairness, the door was open because it's hot here in the studio.
It is so hot in here.
Not to complain, but the air is not
You are
working.
naked.
I have my bathing suit on, and I'm getting ready to go swimming. So
because that's my question for you is, why are you dressed over here like we're about to participate in a wet T-shirt contest?
Well,
Erin McCarty.
Leave me alone. I have my swim shoes on, too. Did you notice?
Erin McCarty.
And I have my little bathing suit trunks underneath.
Okay, girl.
Anyway, I'm going to get in the pool.
Ladies and gentlemen, she is single.
I need your help with this.
In fairness, for those that don't know, you are an aquatics instructor in the YMCA program.
Well, I don't teach anymore. I'm not teaching anymore. I'm just a participant. I'm a substitute.
I would regularly go to the pool. You're not just wearing a swimsuit around.
We should all go do one of your classes.
No, I'm not doing that right now.
Team building exercise.
You would heckle me the whole time, and I'm the only heckler allowed in the pool.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
I'm the good heckler. I saw this morning when I woke up, and I thought of you immediately. Guess where the best Mexican restaurant in the United States is?
I already know where it is. Mm-hmm. In East Texas. My family owns it.
Nope, that's not it.
Oh,
sorry.
I've been to one in San Antonio that's pretty famous. They operate 24 hours a day.
No. Louisiana just got the award, right?
Yep.
Is it in New Orleans or where? Okay.
I don't know how to say it. Help me with this because it's Acamaya. Acamaya. How do you say that in?
I think it's Acamaya.
Acamaya.
Yeah, that's Acamaya.
Which is interesting because I don't think of New Orleans and Mexican restaurants together.
Hold on, though. Let me step in real quick. New Orleans was just awarded food capital of the world.
I would agree with that.
So every year, one big city has gotten it. Mexico City has gotten it. Paris has gotten it. New Orleans gets it, and we're over here like, wait, hold on.
No, that's fair.
Gotta celebrate
New Orleans food
everything.
is fabulous.
We got to celebrate everything. You have the best of the best there. It's not just for Cajun. Like everybody's like, oh, Creole Cajun.
They're saying they're bringing the best of coastal flavors from Mexico and combining it with Gulf seafood. You're a food expert.
Guess who's been doing that from day one?
Who?
Gabe Balderas.
Oh, you're right.
El Cabo Verde.
Yes.
Zuzul.
He owns a bunch here locally.
And now Brine.
And now the Brine. He owns one in Oaxaca.
Yeah. Have you ever been to Acamaya?
I haven't, but now I feel like
we need to go.
I have to go to research.
Well, I'm going to be in New Orleans twice the rest of the year for realtor conferences.
You have to go.
So I have to go. I need this information.
There's that thing that Amy Bloxham, we have to go on this is a very important research project.
We do, yes.
We need the company credit card and a company vehicle.
Let me ask for that. She's not giving the company credit card to you. I promise you.
But wait, hold on.
I'll be your field consultant for KEEL. I'm already scheduled in New Orleans twice, and I'll go by the restaurant while we're there.
Okay.
It's all good. Wait.
Give me an idea of some dishes I get that combine coastal flavors from Mexico and Gulf seafood. Give me an idea of what I'm ordering here.
Well, I mean, I think it's just the goodness of we do a lot of fish. I don't think people realize how much we cook with fish.
Right.
In
this is
Mexico.
not a taco and enchilada joint.
Right. It can be.
Okay.
The best way to eat a fish is in a tortilla, baby.
In a taco.
Or yeah.
Really?
Fish taco, shrimp taco.
Amen. Preach to me, brother. Yeah. Have you ever had a shrimp taco
No.
I hate to bring it back to El Cabo Verde because I know we're talking about a completely different restaurant. But even the specials that they do where they bring out snapper, or they'll bring out whatever they'll do, right?
Yeah.
On a bed of rice, or they'll do it like with this really good like citrus butter. Like,
it's going to make us hungry again.
Why am I starving at this hour?
Yeah. I had a great snapper at Noble Savage the other day. Delicious.
Are you talking about the one that was on the, was it with grits or something like that in the corn?
Delish.
I like it when the Mexican restaurants wrap the shrimp in bacon. That's my favorite. That's a Mexican heritage thing, right?
That is an Oyster Bar specialty, and I want you to know that Oyster Bar, they get Mexican points from me. Mm-hmm. They really do.
Yeah.
Because they provide the adult Happy Meal.
Shreveport cultural question. Oyster Bar, is it a Mexican restaurant?
No.
Okay.
At all. Ever.
Is Taco Bell a Mexican restaurant?
No.
Thank you.
Why would
agree.
you? Wait. No.
I agree.
That's offensive to my people. For you to say that Taco Bell is a Mexican.
Is there a real Mexican fast food restaurant that you could say, this really is a Mexican restaurant? We don't have a lot of them here. We don't have the big ones.
Have y'all ever heard
Because the good ones are family owned. We agree on that, right?
Amen.
The best ones are family owned.
Yeah.
Amen. Mm-hmm. No, I mean, I feel like, let's be real, Taco Bell hits the spot, right? Taco Bell, I don't care who you are. Taco Bell will hit the spot. Mm-hmm. You ever need a quick cleanse?
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay.
Two best ad campaigns of all time.
What?
Fourth meal and run for the border.
Baby. Wait. I ran from the border. That's the only time you can get me running.
I'm just going to leave it there.
Yeah. You know what?
But that was an ad campaign 20 years ago.
There used to be something called Taco Casa.
Okay.
Y'all ever heard of that?
We don't have it here,
Taco
though.
Casa, they're Bueno something.
Yeah, Taco Bueno.
They're still around the country.
Yeah. But have y'all ever heard of Juicy's Taco?
No.
It is what Taco Bell used to taste like. Do you remember how when Taco Bell tasted? I don't know if I'm making this up in my head, but Taco Bell used to be really, really good when I was a kid.
Okay.
And look like the Alamo.
Amen.
All the buildings look like the Alamo.
Yes, it's called history.
Now they're little pop-up aluminum
Juicy's
restaurants.
Taco, we're going to Marshall.
Got to tip our hat off to the New Orleans restaurant.
Say the name.
Akamaya.
Uy, romantica.
Akamaya in New Orleans.
New Orleans, number one Mexican restaurant in the country. That's amazing. It's just simply amazing to me. How hot's it going to be today? Heat warning in effect. Jeff Marr with the Weather Channel. He's going to join us in about 10 right here on KEEL.
Back with McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Back with my friend Scott Hughes. Jeff Marr from the Weather Channel joins us next to talk about this heat warning and any relief in sight. But first, I want to ask you about something that's really bothering me. It gets just, and I almost want to tell candidates just stop, but I know it's not going to stop. I'm already getting text messages, about
unsolicited.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
You hadn't signed up to follow that candidate.
On numbers I don't know.
Yeah.
Will you please answer our survey about your likes and dislikes? Would you tell us what you think of our candidate? Would you blah, 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 blah? I'm never responding to you. I'm never going to answer you.
And they don't care.
They don't care. You're right. And B, you're an irritant. And they don't care.
They don't care.
What if we all said, if I get a text from candidate A, I would never vote for that person for the rest of my life? Would that change it? Could that change it if we started a petition? If I get a text from blank, I will never vote for that person the rest of my life.
Well, if you truly did that, But then that would mean that if you got a text, I'll make a scenario up.
Yep.
You get a text from a Republican candidate. That means you're voting for the Democratic candidate regardless of who that person is. No, that's the problem.
That's the
and
problem.
most of the time the text is attacking the Democratic candidate.
Yes.
They're not praising the Republican candidate or vice versa. We could switch parties.
Right.
So, I mean, if truly they felt it wasn't working, but it's the same argument people give me all the time. I'm not voting for people that do negative advertising. Really? Because it seems to be the ones that win.
Yeah.
When you do what I do. Sadly, what you're talking about is getting these unsolicited texts on your cell phone or emails, and you want to go, wait a second, isn't there a protection? Isn't there it's called the Can Spam Act?
Yes.
Well, the answer is yes. People cannot generally send you stuff unless you're a customer.
Right.
Unless you've opted in. They're supposed to give you an opt-out. But guess what the lawmakers did when they passed those acts?
Thank you.
They exempted themselves. It actually falls, in theory, under the First Amendment free speech. That they have the right to market to you, and that's kind of one of the most cost efficient ways. One click of a button, they can reach 100,000 people.
And they say at the end of the message, type stop to end, to opt out. And so I do that on some of them, but I don't think that works. I don't think that truly works.
And that, to be, in my opinion, that's a good faith. Some of them may do that.
Yeah.
They do end up paying 0.01 cent per text. I mean, I have a texting machine for my members.
Sure.
So there is a slight charge every time they do that on scale. So they may opt a few out. But no, I personally don't think they opt you out. They don't have to.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Well, I'm just fed up with it. And I know it's only going to get worse. Heat warning for our area. This is the highest warning they do. We will talk to Jeff Marr about that coming up next here on KEEL.
Back to the show with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
On the Jack Spring Electric Newsmaker Hotline, our friend Jeff Marr from the Weather Channel is joining us this morning. God, can we get some relief? I heard somebody mention rain, but it's just been hot and steamy, and now a heat warning. We're included in that this time, right?
We certainly are. Extreme heat warning that's in effect until 9 o'clock tonight, and the Weather Service will reassess for tomorrow. We will be either under a heat advisory tomorrow, I think, or another extreme heat warning. They'll look at the data, and as far as tomorrow, it's still going to be very hot and humid if you're going to be spending some time out and about this weekend, unfortunately.
Now, explain to folks who may not know, we've done this many times before, but a heat advisory versus a heat warning. What's the point? What's the mark?
A heat advisory, when we expect the heat index to get up there close to 110, that's when you take the actual air temperature and the humidity level, combine those, and it results in an apparent temperature, which is how hot it actually feels to you when you're outside. So when we get a number up close to 110, we're under a heat advisory. We get above 110, that's where we're in extreme heat warning territory. And as today, we may have a heat index up there between 113, maybe 114, or even 115. So that's why we're in that extreme heat warning territory. And you really got to take this seriously. If you have to be outside, if you're working or if the kids are playing some sports, make sure you're hydrated, they're hydrated. Take breaks if you can. Get under some shade. Or the best advice, obviously, is to get inside some air-conditioned environments. But that's not always possible, obviously, when you're working or playing outside.
We often forget, too, Jeff, about our pets that are typically outdoor pets. You got to kind of adjust that in these kind of horrid days, right?
Yeah, you certainly impact them as well, and definitely do not want to leave them in any kind of car situation there. That can certainly be deadly, and not kids as well, of course. And, we just unfortunately can't get much relief. It has been a very hot August. The all-time hottest month we've ever had was back in 2011 when we had an average temperature that was way up there of 91.5 degrees. That's when you had the high with the low. Well, so far this month, our average temperature is 87.1 when you take into account the high and low temperatures, which is about 2.5 degrees above average. So we may not have the all-time mark in sight as we end the month, but we may be up there in the top 5. It has certainly been a very hot one.
Jeff, this is Scott Hughes. Good morning. Is there any relief in sight? I mean, we also keep hearing Labor Day. I mean, last night I was staying up late praying for rain. There was some rain north of us. I kept saying, come on, you can do it. When do we get any relief?
Well, unfortunately, we've got a front that's stalled out to our north, and we have high pressure down in the Gulf and low pressure across the southwest. So our winds have been up from the south and the southwest, boosting that humidity. Now, we may have a few isolated thunderstorms this afternoon. It's kind of a good news, bad news situation. If we do get some thunderstorms, that would obviously bring the temperatures down a little bit, but it also would increase the humidity. And also, we have so much energy available. If we do fire up any thunderstorms today, they'll be capable of some damaging wind gusts and maybe some hail. So that's something we'll be watching out for this afternoon and early this evening, possibly again tomorrow afternoon, and then just hot, humid, and dry as we head from Sunday into Monday of next week. A high Sunday near 100, upper 90s Monday. Then we're back into the triple digits for Tuesday and next Wednesday. So it's been a long time since we've been close to that average high of 95 degrees.
And then we have people who work outside. I think for the most part, it's difficult, but they're aware of it. They're professionals, contractors, utility people, et cetera. But this is Friday in the fall in the South. We're about to start high school football. What warning or advice would you have for people that might be going out, to be honest, tonight to high school football games, scrimmages, by next week, definitely maybe full-time, regular football games? What should the average person who may not go outside a whole lot and think, let's go to the football game tonight, what should they be aware of?
Well, loose-fitting, light-colored clothing, definitely your best bet, and drink as much water as you possibly can, or any kind of sports drinks with electrolytes to stay hydrated. And, the coaches these days have a better handle, obviously. Back in the day when I had those two-a-days and, it was not quite as, it was a concern, obviously, but I think they're a little bit better up to date on the heat and the problems we can face these days. So hopefully they'll be taking that into account as we head towards the start of the season. We've got practices and, not just football, other sports as well. So, yeah, anyone that's going to be spending a lot of time outdoors and undergoing any kind of work or exercise, you need to take precautions to deal with this heat.
Let's talk drought a minute. How are the drought conditions in our area? We are under burn bans for several parts of Louisiana now. You anticipate that continuing?
Well, just a few isolated thunderstorms. I don't think we're going to have any widespread rain. Certainly, if we get any thunderstorms, they'll be isolated in nature today and this evening, again tomorrow afternoon. But then a stretch of dry weather as we head from tomorrow night all the way into the middle part of next week. Maybe later Wednesday and Thursday we'll have a few isolated thunderstorms. We're not talking any kind of widespread soaking rainfall that could help us out. And, usually this time of year we're talking about tropical systems because the peak of the season is coming up here as we head towards September. But with this strong El Nino pattern, we're really not seeing much at all as far as any activity in the Atlantic and the Gulf anytime soon. So, if you're hoping for maybe some relief as far as some heavy rains with the tropical system, we're not expecting that anytime soon for sure.
And maybe last question, Jeff, because we also are tending to get more power outages these days when the power grid gets stressed. If power goes out, what should somebody do? Are you safe to stay in your house without air if the windows don't open? Or what's your advice if power goes out at your house?
Well, obviously, your best bet would be to go try and find some air conditioning somewhere, whether it's, other family or friends or neighbors, and, maybe for a little bit farther away that would have some power. But, yeah, that's also the problem. Not only are you talking about daytime highs in the triple digits, but we're talking about overnight lows that are close to 80. So it's really, it's hard to get some relief when you're dealing with this long of a stretch of very hot temperatures in the afternoon and even some uncomfortable heat and humidity at night. So, yeah, your best bet is obviously to get into air conditioning if you can. Jeff
Marr with the Weather Channel. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Try to stay as cool as possible. It's going to be tough as we head towards next week.
You bet. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL.
Now more breaking news and trending talk with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Okay, I hate to admit this. I was playing poker last night. Yeah, I got beat, but that's another story for another day.
So you go all in on a pair of sevens. That's what the word on the street is.
I'll shut up. Yeah, it's true.
Okay.
Got beat. I was short stacked. Anyway, so I missed the commission meeting. I watched a little bit of it, but you say there was a citizen that got up and really called these folks out, called the commission out, and was kind of crossing the line a little bit.
Yeah, I have staff that goes and covers these meetings, and every now and then I just tune in to watch the public comments because it often gives you a feel for what the public's saying and or the hot issues. And yesterday, they really only had one person comment, but man, did he have some thoughts.
He was, he's mad, correct?
He's mad, and to his credit, he's apparently a cancer survivor. He's not been around by his own, statement for a number of years. He's beat stage 4 cancer, and I applaud that.
Sure.
Prayers for him. Hope he's doing great. But he's angry, and he let them have it. He said, you don't respect me, so I'm not going to respect you. Refused to call them commissioners. which I just think is disrespectful as a citizen anyway. You should go and be professional. You can be angry. That's fine. He referred to them by first name.
Wow. And
there's generally an unwritten rule. You don't call out individual commissioners. That's just every political body. You talk to the issue, not the person.
Sure.
And then he ran over. And then, of course, the chair properly, I will say, gavelled him and said, your time is up. They didn't cut he wouldn't leave. He said, my time's up and I decide it's up.
Whoa.
And then it was on. Because now we have to ask some of the law enforcement community to come and assist him out of the room. He did eventually go quietly, I will say.
Okay.
I mean, there was noise later. But he turned and started talking to the audience.
Oh, my.
And he, in my opinion, and I want to be careful because I don't think he said, I'm going to come to your house and attack you. He didn't say that.
Right.
But he basically, I think, crossed the civil line and threatened the commissioners.
Wow.
I'm going to be your nightmare. I'm going to be here every time. You're going to see me in the grocery store. You're going to think about me. You're going to go to bed. I'm going to give you hell. So
wow.
That goes beyond I'm not happy with the decision.
Now when they were escorting him out, I noticed that they apparently took a break.
They were escorting him out. Then there was this is all on videotape. And if you've ever watched, all you're seeing is the camera pointing at the commission. If there's a speaker, they'll reverse the camera and show you the speaker. So at this point, all we're seeing is the dais, the commission, the horseshoe. And you can hear something in the background. I couldn't tell if it was in the room or if it was out in the hall if you've been to the city complex, which sort of ante-room comes in. But there was clearly a noise. Something was going on. They sat there quietly. And then the commission chair, who I believe is Mr. Young, I wasn't paying that close attention because sometimes they switch.
Greg Young, not John Paul.
Greg Young, Commissioner Young. He basically says, can I get a motion to take a quick recess, 5-minute recess? And they went into 5. So basically they met. They did the pledge. They did the prayer. They heard one speaker, and they took a break. It was that disturbing. I will just say that.
Now, when they came back, I heard, and I woke up this morning to this video sent to me by a few people, Ken Epperson chastising Victor Thomas.
2 commissioners.
Yes.
2 Democratic commissioners.
Yes. Epperson was really chastising Victor Thomas. I don't know that, they thought they were off mic, I guess, but the mics were hot still. And Epperson was really in no uncertain terms dropping F-bombs, telling Victor Thomas, we have the 7-5 majority, and y'all are effing with me, and I'm tired of this S, and y'all need to stop this, or I'm going to drop a effing bomb in this place.
Ruben, be ready with the button over there.
I'm thinking, what on earth is going on? I think Epperson feels disrespected in that he has wanted to do some things, and his fellow Democrats have not voted with him. And he feels like they should. He said, look, I've been working with you. I've been helping you. We have the majority now. We need to all cooperate and get things done. And you're not working with me. So I'm done with this. It's a little Democrat on Democrat action here.
And this, ironically, this is where American politics is today. This is a rare moment. It was caught on, technically video because you can see him standing there.
Sure.
But the hot mic, as we say in the business, is picking up a conversation that wasn't supposed to be recorded.
Yeah.
And so we're getting a little insight into what is a Caddo Democrat on Democrat. And what they're basically saying is, look, our side has the votes. You need to play ball.
Yeah.
And you're not playing ball on a close margin. We have a one-vote margin. We got to work together. To be honest, we could catch the same conversation in Congress right now.
Oh, sure.
In the Senate or the House, where the Republicans are working with a one-vote margin, and they often have an outlier that's not playing ball.
Yes.
And so this is where American politics is. We're so divided. We're so close on the margins that it's often not my party against yours. We know that debate.
Yeah.
It's within the parties when 1 or 2 people want to be a holdout.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you.
Glad to be here.
Absolutely. Hopefully Mike will be back with us next week. We will keep you posted. We'll be back on Monday, though. Definitely. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL.